සාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විද්‍යාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනන්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විජ්ජාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවති සාදු 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 මට සිල්තිලා දාසන දෙනානේ මම හැමෝටම මම ශ්‍රද්ධාකාමී කාරුණික පින්වතුනි අද මේ බක් මාසේ පුරපසළොස්වක පොහොය දවසේ අප විහාරස්ථානයේ පවත්වනු ලබන මේ ආගමික වැඩසටහනයි ආරම්භ වන්නේ. පළමුවෙන්ම අපි ලෞතර බුදු පියාණන් වහන්සේ උදෙසා මල් පහන් සුවඳ දුම් ගිලන්පස වතකසා තැන්පත් කරන්නට යෙදුණා. පසුව අපි සියලු දෙනාම එකතු වෙලා ඒවා වාචිකවත් අපි සිත කය වචනය කියන ద్వාරත්‍රය මෙහෙයවමින් අපි මේ පූජාව පවත්වමු. දැන් ඊට පළමුව තියෙන්නේ අටසිල් සමාදන් වීම, දසසිල් සමාදන් වීම ආදියයි. ඒ නිසා පළමු කොටම මේ අය අටසිල් සමාදන් වෙන අය නමස්කාරය කියන්න අටසිල් සමාදන් වීම සඳහා. බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ဒုတိယံ පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddham saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Aham bhante ajja imanca divasang uposatang upavasami. Addanga samannagatang silang samadhiyami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Abrahmacharya veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surāmeraya majjapamā daṭṭāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Vikāla bhojanā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Nachagita vadita visuka dassana mala gandha vilepana dharana mandana vibhusanattana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Uccāsayana mahāsayana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Imāni atthāṅga uposata sīlāni samadhiyami. Imāni atthāṅga uposata sīlāni samadhiyami. Imāni atthāṅga uposata sīlāni samadhiyami. හොඳයි. එහෙමනම් ඊගාවට දසසිල් සමාදන් වෙන කාරුණික පින්වතුන් නමස්කාරය කියන්න දසසිල් සමාදන් වීම සඳහා. බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි. ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ဒ ුතියම්පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ဒ ුතියම්පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ဒ ුතියම්පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි တ තියම්පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි တ තියම්පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි တ තියම්පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි සරණාගමනං සම්පුන්නං පානාතිපාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි අදින්නාදානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි අබ්‍රහ්මචරියා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි විකාල භෝජනා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි නච්චගීත වාදිත විසුක දස්සනා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි මාලා ගන්ධ විලේපන ධාරණ මණ්ඩන විභූෂණට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි උච්චාසයන මහාසයනා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි ජාතරූප රජත පටිග්ගහනා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි ඉමානි දස සික්ඛාපදානි සමාදියාමි ඉමානි දස සික්ඛාපදානි සමාදියාමි ඉමානි දස සික්ඛාපදානි සමාදියාමි එමනම් මේ කාරුණික පින්වතුනි මේ සුබ උදෑසන ලෞතුරා සම්මා සම්බුදු පියාණන් වහන්සේ උදෙසා හිමිදිරියේම කිරි ආහාර බුද්ධ පූජාවත් පවත්වන්නට යෙදුනා. චාරිත්‍රයක් හැටියට සෑම පුරපසළොස්වක පොහෝ දිනකම අපේගේ විහාරස්ථානයේ බෝධීන් වහන්සේ පිහිටෝපු දවසේ පටන් දැන් අවුරුදු මං හිතන්නේ ගණනාවක් තිස්සේ මේ උතුම් වූ පින්කම සිද්ධ කරගෙන යනු ලබනවා. ඒ තව දුරටත් අපට පුළුවන් තාක්කල් අපි ඒ සිද්ධ කරනවා. දැන් මේ වෙලාවේදී අපි සියලු දෙනා මේ පින්වතුන් වෙනුවෙන් ලෞතුරා බුදුපියාණන් වහන්සේ ඉදිරියෙහි තැන්පත් කරන්නට යෙදුන මේ මල් පහන් සුවඳදුම් ගිලම්පස ලෝකයක් සැනසූ ඒලා තථාගත ලෞතුරා බුදුපියාණන් වහන්සේට ඉතාමත්ම සාදර සිතින් යුක්තව පූජා කරමු. පූජා වේවා පූජා වේවා පූජා වේවා. මේ බුද්ධ පූජාවෙන් ජනිත වන්නා වූ මේ ආනිසංස ධර්මයන්ගේ බලයෙන් ශක්තියෙන් මේ හැම කෙනෙකුගේම නිරෝගී සම්පත්තිය උදා වේවා. ඒ වගේම වාසනාව උදා වේවා. කරන කියන හැම සුබ කාර්යයක්ම සඵල කර ගැනීම සඳහා රත්නත්‍රයේ ආශිර්වාදය එමෙන්ම දිව්‍යයන්ගේ දේවාරක්ෂාවත් මේ අයට හිමි වේවා. අවසානයේදී අපි සියලු දෙනාම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන බෝධියකින් නිවන් සුව සාදා ගැනීම සඳහාත් මේ පින් අපි සියලු දෙනාටම හේතු වාසනා වේවා කියලා හිතාගෙන අපිත් සමගම බුද්ධ පූජාව කියන්න ඒකලම අපිත් සමගම වන්දනා ගාථාවලින් පස්සේ පිරිත් සජ්ජායනාව කරන හැටියට මතක් කරනවා. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විජ්ජාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තාදේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ස්වාක්ඛාතෝ භගවතා ධම්මෝ සන්දිට්ඨිකෝ අකාලිකෝ ඒහි පස්සිකෝ ඕපනයිකෝ පච්චත්තං වේදිතබ්බෝ විඤ්ඤුහිති සුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ උජුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ ඥායපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචි පටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ යදිදං චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අට්ඨපුරිස පුග්ගලා ඒස භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේයෝ පාහුනේයෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරං පුඤ්ඤක්ඛෙත්තං ලෝකස්සාති වන්දාමි චේතියං සබ්බං සබ්බටානේසු පතිට්ඨිතං සාරීරික ධාතු මහා බෝධින් බුද්ධ රූපං සකලං සදා යස්සමූලේ නිසින්නෝව සබ්බාරි විජයන්නකා පත්තු සබ්බඥුතං සත්තා වන්දේතං බෝධිපාදපං ඉමේ ඒතේ මහාබෝධී ලෝකනාතේන පූජිතා අහම්පිතේ නමස්සාමි බෝධිරාජා නමස්තුතේ අධිවාසේතුනෝ බන්තේ පානීයං පරිකම්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු මුත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ බන්තේ ගිලාන පච්චයං ඉමං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු මුත්තම නමාමි බුද්ධං ගුණසාගරන්තං සත්තා සදාහොන්තු සුඛී අවේරා කායෝජිගුච්චෝ සකලෝ දුගන්දෝ ගච්ඡන්ති සබ්බේ මරණං අහංච නමාමි ධම්මං මුනි රාජ දේශිතං සත්තා සදාහොන්තු සුඛී අවේරා කායෝජිගුච්චෝ සකලෝ දුගන්දෝ ගච්ඡන්ති සබ්බේ මරණං අහංච නමාමි සංඝං මුනි රාජ ශාවකං සත්තා සදාහොන්තු සුඛී අවේරා කායෝජිගුච්චෝ සකලෝ දුගන්දෝ ගච්ඡන්ති සබ්බේ මරණං අහංච කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමේ බන්තේ බුරිපඤ්ඤ තථාගත කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමේ ධම්ම සන්දිට්ඨික අකාලික කායේන වාචා වාචාචිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමේ සංඝ සුපටිපන්න අනුත්තර ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤකම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤකම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤකම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තියා. එහෙමනම් අපිත් සමගම මේ පිරිස් සජ්ජායනාවත් පවත්වන්න. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස යානිද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානිව අන්තලික්කේ සබ්බේව භූතා සුමනා භවන්තු අතෝපි සක්කච්ච සුනන්තු භාසිතං තස්මාහි භූතානි සාමේත සබ්බේ මෙත්තං කරෝත මානුසියා පජාය දිවාචරත්තෝච හරන්තියේ බලින් තස්මාහිනේ රක්ඛත අපමත්තා යංකින්ච වෙත්තං ඉදවාහුරන්වා සංගේසු වායං රතනං පනීතං නනෝ සමං අත්ථි තථාගතේන ඉදම්පි බුද්දේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු khයං විරාගං අමතං පනීතං යදජ්ජගා සක්්‍ය මුනි සමාහිතෝ නතේන ධම්මේන සමත්තිකින්චේ ඉදම්පි ධම්මේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යම් බුද්ධ සෙට්ඨෝ පරිවන්නයේ සුචෙන් සමාධිමානං තරිකඤ්ඤමාහෝ සමාධිනාතේන සමෝන විජ්ජති ඉදම්පි ධම්මේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යේ පුග්ගලාගට්ට සතම් පසත්තා චත්තාරි ඒතානි යුගානි හොන්ති තේ දක්ඛිනෙය්‍යා සුගතස්ස සාවකා ඒතේසු දින්නානි මහප්පලානි ඉදම්පි සංගේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යේ සුප්පයුත්තා මනසාදල්හෙන නික්කාමිනෝ ගෝතම සාසනම්හි තේපත්තිපත්තා අමතං විගයිහ ලද්ධා මුදානි බුතින් බුංජමානා ඉදම්පි සංගේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යතින්ද කීලෝ පඨවින් සිතෝසියා චතුබ්බිවාතේබි අසම්පකම්පියෝ තතුපමං සප්පුරිසං වදාමි යෝ අරිය සච්චානි අවෙච්ච පස්සති ඉදම්පි සංගේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යේ අරිය සච්චානි විභාවයන්ති ගම්භීර පඤ්ඤේන සුදේශිතානි කිංචාපිතේ හොන්ති භුසප්පමත්තා නතේ භවං අට්ඨමං ආදියන්ති ඉදම්පි සංගේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු සහවස්ස දස්සන සම්පදාය තයස්සු ධම්මා ජහිතා භවන්තේ සක්කාය දිට්ඨි විචිකිච්ඡිතංච සීලබ්බතං වාපි යදත්ති කිංචේ චතුහ පායේ ඉච විප්පමුත්තෝ චචාබිටානානි අබබ්බෝකාතුං ඉදම්පි සංගේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු කිංචාපිසෝ කම්මං කරෝති පාපකං කායේන වාචා උදචේතසාවා අබබ්බෝසෝ තස්ස පටිච්චාදාය අබබ්බතා දිට්ඨ පදස්ස උත්තා ඉදම්පි සංගේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු වනප්පගුම්බේ යථා පුස්සිතග්ගේ ගිම්හානමාසේ පටමස්මින්ගිම්හේ තතුපමං ධම්ම වරං අදේසයි නිබ්බානගාමින් පරමංහිතාය ඉදම්පි බුද්දේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු වරෝවරඤ්ඤෝ වරදෝ වරහරෝ අනුත්තරෝ ධම්ම වරං අදේසයි ඉදම්පි බුද්දේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු කීනං පුරාණං නවන්නත්ති සම්භවං විරත්ත චිත්තා ආයතිකේ භවස්මින් තේඛීන බීජා අවිරුල්ලිච්ඡන්දා නිබ්බන්ති ධීරා යථායං පදීපෝ ඉදම්පි සංගේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායා නිව අන්තලික්කේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං බුද්ධං නමස්සාම සුවත්ති හෝතු යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායා නිව අන්තලික්කේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං ධම්මං නමස්සාම සුවත්ති හෝතු යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායා නිව අන්තලික්කේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං සංඝං නමස්සාම සුවත්ති හෝතු ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන දුක්ඛා උපසමින්තු තේ ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන භයා උපසමින්තු තේ ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන රෝගා උපසමින්තු තේ මහාකරුණිකෝ නාතෝ හිතාය සබ්බ පානිනං පුරෙත්වා පාරමී සබ්බා පත්තෝ සම්බෝධිමුත්තමං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ජයන්තෝ බෝධියා මූලේ සක්ඛ්‍යානං නන්දිවද්ධනෝ එවං තුයිහං ජයෝ හෝතු ජයස්සු ජය මංගලං සක්ඛ සක්කත්වා බුද්ධරතනං ඕසදං උත්තමං වරං හිතං දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධතේජේන සොත්තිනා නස්සන්තු පද්දවා සබ්බේ දුක්ඛාඋපසමින්තුතේ සක්කත්වා ධම්මරතනං ඕසදං උත්තමං වරං පරිලා උපසමනං ධම්මතේජේන සොත්තිනා නස්සන්තු පද්දවා සබ්බේ භයා උපසමින්තුතේ සක්කත්වා සංඝරතනං ඕසදං උත්තමං වරං ආහුනේයං පාහුනේයං සංඝතේජේන සොත්තිනා නස්සන්තු පද්දවා සබ්බේ රෝගා උපසමින්තුතේ යංකින්චි රතනං ලෝකේ විජ්ජති විවිධාපුතු රතනං බුද්ධ සමන්නත්ති තස්මාසොත්ති භවන්තුතේ යංකින්චි රතනං ලෝකේ විජ්ජති විවිධාපුතු රතනං ධම්ම සමන්නත්ති තස්මාසොත්ති භවන්තුතේ යංකින්චි රතනං ලෝකේ විජ්ජති විවිධාපුතු රතනං සංඝ සමන්නත්ති තස්මාසොත්ති භවන්තුතේ නත්තිමේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං බුද්ධෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං නත්තිමේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං ධම්මෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං නත්තිමේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං සංඝෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං සබ්බීතියෝ විවජ්ජන්තු සබ්බ රෝගෝ විනස්සතු මාතේ භවත්වන්තරායෝ සුඛී දීඝායුකෝ භව භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්칸තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ බුද්ධානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තුතේ භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්칸තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ ධම්මානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තුතේ භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්칸තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ සංඝානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තුතේ කත්ත යක්කභූතානං පාපග්ගහනිවාරණා පරිත්තස්සානුභාවේන අන්තුතේ සංඋපද්දවේ සබ්බේ බුද්ධාබලප්පත්තා පච්චේ කානංචයං බලං අරහන්තා නංචතේජේන රක්ඛං බන්ධාමි සබ්බසෝ අභිවාදන සීලෙස්ස නිච්ඡං වද්දාපචායිනෝ චත්තාරු ධම්මා වඩ්ඩන්ති ආයුවන්නෝ සුඛං බලං ආයුරාෝග්‍ය සම්පatti සග්ග සම්පatti මේවච අතෝ නිබ්බාන සම්පatti ඉමිනාතේ සමිජ්ජතු. අද මේ පුුණු පොහෝ දවසේ උදෑසන සිදු කරනු ලබන ඒ පුද පූජාවන් පවත්වලා අවසාන වෙච්ච අවස්ථාව විශේෂයෙන්ම මතක් කළ යුතු කාරණයක් තියෙනවා. මං හිතන්නේ මීට ප්‍රථමවත් මේව ගැන අපි කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. මොකද්ද අපි වන්දනාමානාදී ගාථාවන් සජ්ජායනා කරනකොට අපි සියලු දෙනාම අපි දන්නවා ඒ පාලි භාෂාවෙන් තමයි ඒවා ලියලා තියෙන්නේ. ධර්මය ලියලා තියෙන්නේ පාලි භාෂාවෙන්. මොකද හේතුව මේ භාෂාවෙන් ලියාපුහම ඒ වෙනස් කරන්නට කෙනෙකුට පුළුවන්කමක් ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ. බුද්ධ භාෂිතයේ වෙනස් කළ යුතු කිසිවක් නැහැ. ඒ වගේම එයට එකතු කර යුතු අටුවා ටීකා ආදී තවත් දෙයක් නැහැ. බුද්ධ භාෂිතය එහෙමමයි, ඒ සත්‍යයයි. ඒට අමුතුවෙන් එකතු කරන්නට හෝ තියෙන දේවල් අඩු කරන්නට හෝ කිසි කෙනෙකුට කරන්න පුළුවන්කමක් නැහැ. මේ පාලි භාෂාවෙන් ඒවා රචනා වෙලා තියෙන නිසා. මා කියන්ට බලාපොරොත්තු වන්නේ ඊටත් වඩා ඒ ගාථා ආදිය සජ්ජායනා කරනකොට පුළුවන් තරම් එහි අදහස තමන්ගේ හිතට අරගෙන සජ්ජායනා කිරීම තමයි ඉතාමත්ම වැදගත් වෙන්නේ. මොකද ඒ අර්ථයෙන් තමන් දැනුවත් වෙනකොට අපි මේ කරන ක්‍රියාවෙන් ලැබෙන උපරිම ප්‍රතිඵලය, උපරිම කුසල පක්ෂය අපට ලබා ගන්නට පුළුවන්කම අවස්ථාව සැලසෙනවා. එහෙම නැතුව සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔය ඇති කරන ගිරව් වගේ අපි කියාගෙන ගියොත් එයින් මං හිතන්නේ නෑ අපට 100% අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වන පින් අපට සිද්ධ වෙනවායි කියලා. මේ අය දන්නවා පින් දහම් කරනකොට එකම දෙය 10 දෙනෙක් එකම වෙලාවක ඒ 10 ආකාරයකට තමයි සමහරලාට සිද්ධ කරන්නේ. අපි උදාහරණයක් හැටියට මතක් කළොත් අපි මල් පහන් පූජා කරනවා. සමහර දෙමව්පියෝ ඉතාමත්ම ආදරයෙන් තමන්ගේ පොඩි දරුවනුත් සමග ගිහිල්ලා මේ වගේ උතුම් පින්කම් දහම් සිද්ධ කරනවා. පහන් පූජාව කරනවා. මල් පූජාව කරනවා. ඒ වගේම තවත් අනිකුත් පුද පූජාවන් පවත්වනවා. ඒ තමන් ගාව ඉන්න චූටි දරුවත් සමහර වෙලාවට ඒ අම්මා කරන දේ බලාගෙන ඉඳලා ඔහු හෝ ඇයත් මල් ලෝතුරා බුදු පියාණන් වහන්සේට පූජා කරනවා. එතකොට අම්මා මල් පූජා කළා. ඒ වගේම චූටි දරුවත් මල් පූජා කළා. තවත් කෙනෙක් මල් පූජා කළා. ඒ වගේම ධර්මය පිළිබඳව දන්නා, ඒ වගේම මේ ගාථා සජ්ජායනාවන් පිළිබඳ අර්ථය මෙනෙහි කරමින් අර්ථය දන්න පුජ්‍යලයෙක්, සංඝයා වහන්සේ නමක් හෝ වෙනත් ගිහි භවතෙක්, උපාසක උපාසිකාවක් ඒ ක්‍රියාවම සිද්ධ කරනවා. බැලූ බැල්මට මේ සියලු දෙනාම සිදු කරනුට ලබන්නේ එකම ක්‍රියාව. නමුත් ගණනය කරලා පසුව බැලුවොත් ඒ එකම පුණ්‍යක් ක්‍රියාව සිද්ධ කළත් එයින් ලැබෙන කුසල පක්ෂයේ අඩු වැඩිතාවය ඕනම කෙනෙකුට දැක ගන්නට පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා. අන්න ඒකයි අපි මේ වන්දනාමාන ආදී කරනකොට පුද පූජාවන් ලෞතුරා බුදු පියාණන් වහන්සේට පූජා කරනකොට තමන්ගේ මනස ඉතාමත්ම හොඳින් තියාගෙන ඒ වගේම ඒ අර්ථයන්, ඒ ගුණයන් ලෞතුරා බුදු පියාණන් වහන්සේ තුල තිබුණු ඒ උදාර ගුණධර්මයන් සිහිපත් කරමින් අපි පුද පූජාවන් පවත්වනවා නම් එයින් ලැබගත යුතු ඒ උපරිම ආනිසංස ධර්මයන් අපට ලබා ගැනීමට ශක්තිය තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසායි මා මේ වචන ස්වල්පය මතක් කළේ. විශේෂයෙන්ම අද දවස මේ බක් මාසේ පුරපසළොස්වක පොහොය දවස විශේෂයෙන්ම ආසියාතික රටවල් වල ජනතාවට මේ බක් මාසය ඉතාමත්ම වැදගත්. මොකද ජ්‍යෝතිෂය පැත්තෙන් බලනකොට මේ සූර්යාගේ ගමන් මාර්ගයේ අවසානයට එළඹිලා මීන රාශියේ ඉන්න අවසාන රාශියේ ඉන්න සූර්යා ඊගාවට මේෂ රාශියට නැවත සම්ප්‍රාප්ත වෙන වෙලාව. ඒක ඉතා වැදගත්. මොකද එදා ඉඳලම ලෝකේ හැම කෙනෙක්ම මං හිතන්නේ අවබෝධ කරගෙන තිබුණා, අවබෝධ කරගන්නවා, අවබෝධ කරගත්තා. හිරු සඳුගෙන් තොර ලෝකයක් අපට නැහැ. මේ ලෝකයේ ජීවත් කරන්නේ, මේ ලෝකයේ ජීවය තියෙන්නේ මේ හිරු සඳු දෙදෙනාගේ මේ ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය නිසයි. යම් හෝ දවසක මේ මව්පියන් හා සමාන ජ්‍යෝතිෂයේදී හඳුන්වනවානේ පියා හැටියට තමයි සූර්යයා හඳුන්වන්නේ, මව හැටියට චන්ද්‍රයා හඳුන්වනවා. මේ දෙදෙනාගේ මේ ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය යම් දවසක නැවතුණා නම් එදාට මුළු මහත් ලෝක ධාතුවම, ඒ ධාතුවේම තියෙන ජීවය එතනින්ම ඉවර වෙනවා. සියලුම දෙනා විනාශයට පත් වෙනවා. ගහකොළ, සිව්පාවන්, සියලුම ජීවි අජීවි හැම දෙයක්ම විනාශයට පත් වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා සූර්ය නමස්කාරයේ එදා ලෝකාරම්භයේ පටන්ම සූර්යාට චන්ද්‍රයාට ගරු සත්කාර සම්මාන කිරීම බොහෝම ඉතාමත්ම උතුම් සත්කාරයක් හැටියට ඒ ග්‍රහයන් වෙත තමන්ගේ කෘතඥතාවය පිරිනමන පුද පූජාවන් පැවැත්වීම් ආදී දේවල් එදා පටන්ම සිද්ධ කරුණු ලැබුවා. ඒවා මහත් උත්සවශ්‍රීයෙන් තමයි මේ දේවල් සිද්ධ කළේ. අන් ඒකයි මේ අප්‍රේල් මාසයේ බක් මාසය සියලු දෙනාටම සතුට ගෙන දෙන මාසයක් බවට පත්වනේ පත්වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් මේ වෙලාවේදී උදේ කාල සීමාව බලනකොට අපට නීමිත කාලය දැන් හමාර වේගෙන යනවා. එයින් පසුව බන්තේ හාමුදුරන්ගේ ධර්ම දේශනාවයි තියෙන්නේ 9:30ට. ඒ නිසා මේ අය විනාඩි කීපයක නිදහසක් මේ වෙලාවේදී ගන්නට ඕන කරනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ දක්වා අපි විසින් අටසිල් සමාදන් වීම, ඒ වගේම ගාථා සජ්ජායනා කිරීම, වන්දනාමාන කිරීම, පිරිත් සජ්ජායනා කිරීම ආදීන් අප විසින් ලබාගත්තා වූ මේ උදාර ආනිසංස ධර්මයන්ගේ බලයෙන් ශක්තියෙන් මේ හැම කෙනෙකුටම සිතක් ශාන්තියක්ම සිද්ධ වේවා, නිරෝගී සම්පන්නිය උදා වේවා, සියලු දෙනාගේම ජීවිත වාසනාවන්ත භාවයට පත් වේවා. අවසානයේදී ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන බෝධියකින් නිවන් සුව සාදා ගැනීම සඳහා මේ අපි සියලු දෙනාටම හේතු වාසනා වේවා කියලා සාදු කියලා පින් අනුමෝදන් වන්න. දැන් විනාඩියක් දෙකක් විවේකයක් ගන්න. 9:30 වනතුරු.
Good morning, everyone. As you already know, today is the BAK full moon day, and many wonderful things happen on this day. And today it is Sunday for us. That's why we are having this retreat on Sunday. But actual Poya is tomorrow. But today in Sri Lanka, everybody is observing precepts and participate in all the religious activities because they are one day ahead of us. So we are so fortunate that we are able to participate in spiritual activities like this. Even we are so far away from a country like Sri Lanka or Thailand where the Dhamma is easily available. The practice of Dhamma is easily available. But somehow, so far away from those places of Dhamma, we are still fortunate to observe precepts, observe 8 precepts or 10 precepts, and then listen to Dhamma and spend some time contemplating on ourselves. So now, according to our schedule, we have the Dhamma talk, and let us begin the Dhamma talk by inviting the Devas to participate in the Dhamma. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajassa Sunantu Saggamokkadang Dhammasavana Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Tang king manya sirahula kimatto adasoti Pacchavekkanattho bhanteti Evameva rahula pacchavekkitva Kaya kammang kattabang Pacchavekkitva Vachaya kammang kattabang Pacchavekkitva Manasa kammang kattabang Idang kaya kammang attabhyabadaya sangvatteya Parabhyabadaya pisangvatteya Ubhayabhyadaya pisangvatteya Akusalang idang kaya kammang Idang kaya kammang neva attabhyabadaya sangvatteya Na parabhyabadaya sangvatteya Na ubhayabhyabadaya sangvatteya Kusalang idang kaya kammang Sudukhan dukkha vipakan Sukha vipakanti. That was a little quotation from one of the most memorable sutta that is found in Majjhima Nikaya. Majjhima Nikaya, compared to Digha Nikaya, has a much larger number of sutras, not as long as Digha Nikaya sutras, but very important teachings of the Buddha is found in all the sutras, but in Majjhima Nikaya especially, it's very, very useful for anyone to read. So in graduate school, students, when they try to buy textbooks, I tell them Majjhima Nikaya translation is available under $50, and you should buy it and keep it in your library. And I will tell you to read this sutta, that sutta, and this sutta again and again. And that is a wonderful learning experience for everyone. So buy the Majjhima Nikaya translation. Now that is published in Wisdom publication, translated by originally translated by Venerable Jnanamoli and re-edited by Bhikkhu Bodhi, and in that book is available in the market. If you go to Amazon, you can find that book called Middle Length Discourses of the Buddha. Majjhima Nikaya is called Middle Length Discourses of the Buddha. Is I think over 1,000 pages. I don't have the book right here now to exactly tell you how many pages, but over 1,000 pages, very thin paper. It's a wonderful book to have. And if you also have some extra money, you can go to Amazon and buy this book called Middle Length Discourses of the Buddha by Bhikkhu Bodhi, published by Wisdom Corporation. So this famous sutta that I quoted from is called Ambalattika Rahulovada Sutta. Rahula, you know, that is the little young monk who was the son of the Buddha in his life before he became the Buddha. And Ovada means advice. Ambalattika means this advice was given at the place called Ambalattika. Therefore, the editors at that time, at the Sanghayana, they gave the name Ambalattika Rahulovada Sutta. The reason is that there's another Rahulovada Sutta, so they call it Chula Rahulovada Sutta, small Rahulovada Sutta. So this sutta is called Ambalattika Rahulovada Sutta to make sure that the difference between this one and that one, Chula Rahulovada. As we know, Buddha was amazingly unique being who worked so hard to understand the mechanics of life, how life works. First of all, the life is consists of a body with many parts, but most crucial body parts are sensory organs. That is eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, and then the brain, mana. Those are body parts, powerful body parts. And then you have the chitta or the mana. So the machine that runs the whole person, that includes the body and mind, right? So then Buddha has studied all these different sensory organs and their functions. And he has studied all the sensory objects. Sensory objects means things that you can see from your eye. Visual objects are called. That's a sensory object that is from the eye, that is visual objects. And the audio objects. From the ear, you contact all the sounds, the world of sound, then world of touch, world of smell, world of taste. So the Buddha has studied the eye, ear, nose, all the worlds of sensory fields. And then he has studied the consciousness that arises as soon as your sensory organ touches sensory object. That means if your eye sees something, visual consciousness arises immediately. And if your ear hears some sound, audio consciousness arises. And this happens constantly in our lives, non-stop. When start from the very beginning of the day and until end of the day, these sensory organs are functioning. That means the sensory organs connect to visual objects. As soon as these visual objects are contacted by, sensory objects are contacted by sensory organs, then sensory consciousness arises. And there are the only thing, this is the only thing happen throughout the whole day and all life. You see something, you hear something, you touch something, you smell something, you taste something, and you think something. That's also a very important part. Without having any sensory objects working, your brain is working, and you start thinking, so and so did this to me, and that was a very nice performance, or that was a very good movie, and keep thinking like that. That's mental objects. So the Buddha is called Loka Vidu. Loka Vidu, one who knows the world. Many people thought, how Buddha is called the Loka Vidu. Jipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vidyachan Sampanno Sugato Loka Vidu. Loka Vidu. Always we say that. So there are nothing in the world besides eye consciousness, and the visual object. Things that your eye can see. It could be nearby, it could be far away, it could be in the space, many millions of miles away. If you can see it, that's a visual object. If you can hear something, that's an audio object. That's why we call world of eye, world of forms that is perceived by eye, and then world of consciousness, eye consciousness. So there are three parts of the universe, world: outside objects, either visual object or audio object or tangible object or olfactory object, that means smell, and taste as an object. So the Buddha has studied the I completely, I consciousness completely, and visual objects related to I consciousness completely. And beyond that, there's nothing in this world for us, for any human being. So Buddha has completely comprehended all these 18 areas of the universe that we are living in. Even if my body I can see, that's a visual object. Even if my own sound I can hear, that's an audio object. When you come and talk to me, I can hear your voice. That's an audio object. So, even as the followers of the Buddha, if we know deeply and completely and fully how these different sensory organs and sensory objects and sensory consciousness come to be, then we are also Lokavidu. We become Lokavidu. We become like the Buddha. But we know nothing, almost nothing, about the real nature of the I, how I function, how my eye function, how my ear function, how this sounds function, and how my consciousness function. And what does the consciousness do? So then you begin to see that every time when you contact any object, your consciousness, part of your consciousness, is preserving what you see, preserving what you hear. So that is going to be your memory. What you saw yesterday, you can remember today. What you heard a few days ago, you can remember it today. So then that is consciousness is doing this. So Buddha is Lokavidu. So not only he was Lokavidu, and he knew that many beings in the world, in all beings in the world, human beings, men, women, and children, they are human beings, divine beings, celestial beings, devas, and brahmas, they are beings, and then animals, billions and billions of different species, animals, and hungry ghost, demons, maybe someone have seen them, demons and goblins and ghosts and all the invisible beings exist around us. Invisible for naked eye, yeah? But there are some people who can see them. When the brain is tuned properly, they can see it. When the brain is tuned properly, they can hear it. When they talk, I and you cannot see, but this person who has trained the brain, like not even the Buddha. Buddha was the expert in, because his brain is so well tuned to perceive anything that our regular eye cannot perceive. That is how refined the eye of the Buddha is. That is how refined the ear, that is called faculty. Eye faculty. Eye faculty, ayatana, Chakku ayatana. You know the word, no? Sota ayatana. Ayatana means whole faculty is so well refined by the Buddha, so he can see things that normal people cannot see at all. That's why what you do when you when you are in the lab, you use a microscope and you see these things that nobody ever has seen, and the shapes and movements of these things that you see through microscope you cannot see through your regular eye. But in this case, it's not an external device. In the Buddha's case, it is internal device. External device, the telescope is an external device, not part of my eye, not part of my body. But Buddha's device, Dibba Chakku, Dibba Sota, divine eye, is much more refined than microscopes or telescopes or other things that you use to see things that is happening far away, like TV productions. You can see something happen somewhere very far away, maybe it's in a different planet, maybe somewhere far away in the space. You can see it from here, from your room. That is external device. But the Buddha would close his eyes and see the same thing without having any external object. We can see the astronauts going through the orbit, right? And things that these machines cannot see, Buddha can see also. Devas in those different planets, and their activities, what they are doing at such and such a time, he can close his eyes and he see. But the television cannot do that. Any other telescopes cannot do it. But Buddha can close his eye and see what all those celestial beings or Brahma beings, or who they are, what they look like, what they are doing, and how they are communicating with each other, and all these things can be seen by a Buddha that our scientific devices cannot still cannot perceive, used to perceive, right? And so what is the Buddha did in his life? What I was going to say is that Buddha has constantly seen that these beings are constantly making mistakes in their lives. And due to their mistakes, they suffer so much. Physically they suffer, and mentally they suffer. They go through a lot of agony and frustrations and fears that they don't want to experience. Every time someone like the enlightened one, like the Buddha, would look at the universe, look at the world, you see billions of beings who are constantly experience suffering. And actually, he went through the training for uncountable eons, Sara, Asanka, Kalpa, Laksha, million eons, to train himself to help them. By giving them the wisdom to use those sensory organs correctly and assess the information that they gain through their sensory organs correctly, and as a result of correct evaluation of their own behavior and own imagination and own thinking, how can they be free from all those suffering, and they can keep smiling and be peaceful and happy. So he has gone through so much training just for developing the knowledge to share with all other beings to avoid suffering, and then he come and born among humans, because humans are the only beings out of all the other millions of different type of beings like devas and brahmas and hungry ghosts and demons and animals. Among all of them, humans are the one who can comprehend the Dhamma that is taught by any Buddha. Mainly because in the samsara, in the cosmos, from bottom to the top, bottom is hell beings, too much suffering, and then less and less suffering like animals and hungry ghosts, and then humans are the middle, and above humans then devas and brahmas and all that, and right in the middle are the humans. So the humans has the potential to look up and understand that side, look down, understand that side. What is the downside? Pain in life. What is the upside? Excitement in life. All those people who are having such a great excitement, they also lose their excitement at some point and end up being extreme pain. Who can see this? Human can see this. When they're in the middle, they look at upside, up, down, then they can see down. They see all those beings are constantly burning with fear and burning with fire and burning with frustration, and they can see. Who can see? Human beings can see, because they are right in the middle. So they can get a good picture of what is above them and what is under them. So then Buddha would come to a human world. This is the place that all these divine beings and other suffering beings can enter due to causes and conditions and free from here. They cannot, very little chances to become enlightened by being Brahma. After Brahma, you die and reborn as an animal again. But if the Brahma has practiced Dharma, learned Dharma, as a human being, he might have some chance to get out of the samsara, get out of being born in a human realm or any other realm, because he has already heard the Dhamma mechanics of life, and then he may be able to free from samsara from there. But the knowledge he gained from a Buddha as a human being, although they was also like that. They cannot go to nirvana directly from heaven. They have to come down here and learn the Dharma here. And even if we reborn again in the heaven with some knowledge of Dhamma, like Anathapindika, for example, he was a Sotapan already. As a wealthy banker who was a disciple of the Buddha, he could be reborn in heaven, but in the heaven he is not going to be too crazily excited about the heavenly luxuries, sensual excitement, sexual excitement, that kind of things. So they Anathapindika may come back here and become an arahant in the future, or he might be able to become enlightened from the heaven. So we don't know for sure. But he is not a regular deva because he had the deep wisdom of life, even as a heavenly being. So that is why Buddha would appear among humans, because they are the because they are the ones who has the capacity to understand the teachings of the Buddha. And that's why always Buddha appears in the human realm. That is why he was never go to be born as the Buddha in the divine realm. Not in Brahma realm. But maybe they can come and ask a question or two from the Buddha and learn something, but Buddha would never think of Buddha would never think of becoming a teacher in heaven or any other place. So in other words, people like us who are born in the human world, and Buddha is born at the same time, that means Buddha's teaching is available at the same time, that we are so lucky to get the wisdom of the Buddha about our own lives. Because Buddha's teaching is only explaining how our life works and how our life constantly create frustration and fear and agony and suffering to all of us, and how to avoid all those things temporarily, how to completely eliminate all those frustration and fears fully. So then we who are exposed to the teachings of the Buddha is so fortunate. But when you look at us, out of all the people in the world, very small percentage is exposed to the Buddha's teaching. Maybe even India, a lot of people lost the teaching that was taught by a great being who was born in India itself. So that is because of the ignorance of these people like us. We neglect the Dhamma, neglect to protect the Dhamma for following generation, next generation, and another generation. Because of our inability to protect the teaching, it was lost in India. It could be gone from Sri Lanka and Thailand and other countries, and we are beginning to see the signs of disappearance of the Buddha's teaching due to the influences of other views. One thing, that is the main thing, is human ignorance, not knowing Dhamma. Because of human ignorance, we asare sara matino. We pay so much interest to things that are not useful and not beneficial, and we completely neglect that are useful and beneficial. That is the Dhamma we neglect, and we pay more attention to the unnecessary things and given more value. Therefore, those useless things come to prevail and valuable things disappear. So it is very important for us who already had the privilege. We have the privilege to learn and listen to the teachings of the Buddha and use it for the benefit of ourselves and all others around us. That's the most important part. Buddha's teaching, if you follow, it is beneficial to us and it is beneficial to all the people around us. Because if I know how to use my life correctly, that is what the Dhamma is teaching you, it benefits so many people around me anyway. Because if you are driving safely and other people on the road and other places, the plants and trees and flower vases and pots, they all be safe if you drive safely, if you know how to drive safely and correctly. You don't run over too many people. But because of lack of knowledge of how to run our own lives, we run over many people because we are living with so many people in this world. There's no way that you can live all by yourself unless you become a hermit in the forest. The Buddha has done it so many times in the past lives. You leave the kingdom and you leave the very powerful positions and go to the forest and try to live by yourself, to stay away from other people, because if you are living with the other people, it is so easy for you to make a mistake. When you run your life, like when you are driving your car. It's so easy to run over somebody if there are so many people around us. That's how dangerous our lives is. Our parents are in one side, and our children are in one side, and our teachers are in one side, and our family members are inside, and our servants are in one side, our people who help you, and our neighbors are in the other side. So it's very difficult to maneuver your life correctly without run over somebody who is nearby. So that is why we need the knowledge, the skill, to develop the skill of how to drive your vehicle, how to drive your life. Very important. That is what the Buddha is teaching. And if your brakes are not good, no matter how well you drive, if your brakes are not good, you could run over somebody by your vehicle. Same thing about your brain. If your controlling factors of your mind is not very good, that means your brakes are not good in your mind, without any intention, you could run over somebody. If you have an intention, that is different. But if you don't have an intention of run over somebody, you do. Because we don't have brakes. And even if you have good driving skills, other people on the road constantly jump into your road when you are driving, when your vehicle is moving, and they could get hit. And you have no intention of hitting those people. Little bicycle rider is, carefully riding the bicycle and run the bicycle into your way, and you are uh, driving in a certain speed because you want to get to some point, and there's a right speed for that particular road. Even though you are driving in the right speed, somebody, the little child, 15 10 10 15 years old, ride the bicycle to the middle of the road and you can hit. And that is how difficult the life is in samsara. In samsara means in this human or non-human life. Human life is dangerous, and non-human life is dangerous. So the Buddha would say, hurry up and get out. If you are a smart person, if you don't want to get into constant trouble, constant frustration and fears, get out. But we don't hear the teachings. But as long as you are living here, I will give you the beneficial instruction how to live correctly and efficiently. That's what the Buddha did. He constantly gave the necessary information for us to live correctly, efficiently, and effectively without harming anyone. So when people are saying that Buddha's teaching is a great philosophy, Buddha's teaching is a great way of life, it is a religion, nice religion, all these things, these terms are used to indicate Buddhism, recognize Buddhism. Therefore, what I would say now, Buddhism is the manual for those who own a life. Anyone who own a life, all human beings own a life. That life is a very, very complicated mechanical system. Mechanical system means it works based on cause and effect. When this is moving the other way. And this is moving this way, this is moving this way. That's a mechanical thing. See? Mechanical system. Our life is. The most complicated mechanical system that we all have, and we have no knowledge of how this operates. Therefore, it is so important to have the manual for anyone who has a life. Who has life? Only Buddhists? No. Christians have a life. Muslims have life. Hindus have lives. People in India, people in Sri Lanka, people in United States, people in Europe, they all have lives. Then they all need the manual that explain to them clearly and precisely and with full explanation. That manual they have to have. Now this means the Buddha's teaching, not Buddhism I'm talking about, Buddha's teaching is extremely necessary for all human beings living in this planet, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their religious background, regardless of their culture and language, none of those. It's important. They have to have Dharma. If there's no Dharma, you constantly and regularly make mistakes and go through suffering and frustration and fear. So Dhamma is the manual. So the manual can be so big because the Buddha's, this life is so complicated. So the manual can be so big. Buddha took 45 years to explain human life, human conditions, the mechanism of human being, human life works. So the manual can be so thick. If you go to the mechanic with your Mercedes or BMW or something, there's a huge manuals text. But if you are a person who like to take care of your car in basic features, that's a medium-sized small manual. And those who are not very good at maintaining a vehicle, so you have a few pages of manual. So this manual can become in big. The sutras are so extensive, so big, and collection, big, very big collection, 45 years of collection. Every little detail and aspect of human life is clearly explained, and when things are needed to be fixed, how do you fix it, and what are the tools that you need to fix it, and how do you use the tools. All these are explained in the Buddha's teaching. But if you don't want to be that detailed, even if you get Mangala Sutta, maybe 1 page, 1.5 page, maybe maximum, huh? Mangala Sutta is the simple, complete manual for someone who is not expert mechanic of life, simple person. Karaniyametta Sutta you take, you read it and understand, okay, this is a good enough guidance for you to protect yourself and protect others. Now, you can see how important, and this is for all beings. All beings means all men and women and children, not only for some group of people. Buddha's advice. If the Buddha gave an advice, just like I said, Mangala Sutta, is it only for Buddhist or people living in India or Indian continent? No. So you read it and you see, and that is why Singalawada Sutta, one of the Mrs. Rhys Davis, who was one of the people who translated Buddhist texts into English in England, after taking those books from Sri Lanka to England, she thought Buddha taught this sutta 2,600 years ago in the Ganges for the group of people who live by the Ganges River. But it is amazing that this is completely applicable to people live by the Thames River in London, in England. 2,600 years ago Buddha taught, because that is so universal. Anything you take the first sermon of the Buddha, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, complete explanation of life. And then that is not easy because it is condensed. Only an expert can understand. So he took a lot of time to re-explain what is taught in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the first sermon. First sermon was only 10-15 minutes long talk given by the Buddha. But all 45 years, as the Buddha, he used to explain, he used that time to explain the teachings that is found in that 15-minute talk, sermon. So now this is the commentary. All these things are the commentary to the topic today. But I don't think we have enough time to talk about the main topic. But I think we touch on it a little bit. Thanking Manyasi Rahula Kimatto Adasoti. Buddha asked this young little monk, 7 years old, Rahula, what do you think is the mirror for? People use mirrors. What do you use it for? To see our own reflection. The reflection. So you look at your face and you fix your face and fix your hair by using the mirror and correct you and make yourself look nice, make yourself look right using the mirror. That is what the mirror is for. Then Buddha says, Evameva Rahula, just like that, you use the mirror. You use you reflect on anything. Paccavekkittva kammang kātabbam. Reflect and reflect and reflect and reflect. Observe it so closely and see what you're going to do. Kattabang, kammang, kattabang. Kammam is action, no? Any action with your body. So, kayena kammang, kaya means body. If you are going to do something, move it from here to here, or you know, take a glass of wine and drink, or prepare some food for your mother, who is bedridden for some reason. And whatever you do with your body, you reflect and reflect and reflect on it and see if this is beneficial. Whatever I am going to do, attabhyabadaya sangvattati. If it is unbeneficial to me, harmful to me, bad for me, whatever I am going to do now is going to be harmful to someone else, the person who is next to me, person who is coming to see me later, or person who are around us, people who are around us. If this is what I am going to do is harmful to them, unbeneficial to them, reflect on it before you do it. Ubhabhyabhada sangatati. Whatever I do may be good for me but not good for the other person. Then Buddha says, you reflect on it and you find out that it is good for you but not good for the other person. No, that's not a type of things that you are supposed to do. So after reflection, you know that this is not the right thing to do and you don't do it. And then it is good for me but bad for me but good for the other person who is next to me, who is the people around us, is good. If it is bad for you, if it is harmful to you, no, don't do it, because you don't want to harm yourself. So that is also no. So if it is harmful to you, not good. Harmful to the other person, not good. But good for you, but harmful to the other person. Good for the other person, but harmful to you, no good. And then there are certain things that you do is harmful to yourself, harmful to others. Ubhaya abhyabhadaya. Ubhaya means both. They are unbeneficial and harmful to both. How do you find out? To deep reflection. If I do this, what is going to happen? So you reflect on it, and then these are the results. It's bad for me, good for him. Good for him, bad for me. But certain things are bad for both. No, don't do it. So then you don't do that thing, because after reflection, you found it is not a good thing to do. Then this is the word. Idang kayakammang attabhyabadaya sangvatteya parabhyabadaya sangvatteya akusalang idang kayakamma. This physical action is an unskillful action. Akusalang idang kayakamma. Now you know the word akusala. We talked about akusala before. Badly done job. Akusalang kammang means badly done job. It is because the results are not good for you, results are not good for the other, results are not good for both. If you do it, it's a bad job. It's a bad job. So akusala kamma. So not an evil thing or things like that make you to go to hell, but it is going to bring you anything that is unskillful, that bring you pain and suffering and frustration and fears. Then you keep reflecting on some other time, and then you see, okay, this action is not going to be harmful to me, but beneficial to me. This action is not harmful to the other person, but beneficial to them. This action that I'm going to do is good for both. Then you know I should go ahead and do it because it is nice, make everybody happy. Sukha vipaka. Happiness is the result for all of us. That's a good job. Kusalang kammang. Kusalang idang kaya kammang. This my physical action, this type of physical action is a kusalang kaya kammang. Well done job. Job well done. Right? So then now you know. Why? Because you reflect on it. This Buddha is teaching for this 7 years old young little monk who was a boy, and use your intelligence before you do it. Now, when we are living our life, are we do only physical actions? No. We do verbal actions. We say many things to our friends, our family, and even our pets we talk. We constantly say things. When that is the nature of human beings living in a society, we constantly talk. But the Buddha would say, Vacha kammam. Idang vacha kammam. Pachavekitabang. Reflect on it. Just like you look at the mirror and look at your face, look at this very deeply, then you can see all the things that are should not be there. So before you say it, you refine what you want to say, clean it, and then say it. Then it is not harmful to you, harmful to the other person, harmful to both. Not only that, whatever you say, whatever you are going to say is good for yourself and good for others and good for both. Now you know that this is the right thing to say. But how many of us are smart like that? Buddha said, Panyamantasayang Dhammo Nayang Dhammo Duppanyasa. My teaching is for the wise people, not for the unwise people. If you are an unwise person, there is no way you can find time to reflect on what you do, what you say. And the third thing is that what you think in your mind. So and so did this yesterday. I remember he said that the other day. You think. And is this a good thing to think about, or is this a harmful thing to think about? Anything, if you think about negative things of other people or negative things that happen to you, you don't want to go back and reflect on it. I mean, you don't go back and rehearse it and again keep thinking, no. This thought should not be in my mind. I should get rid of this thought because it is not good for me, not good for my friend, my people around me, and not good for both of us. And there are some actions are only good for you, some actions are only good for others, some mental action I'm talking about now, and bad for both, good for both. So this is Buddha is talking completely comprehend in detail, huh? And then now the next thing, before you do it, You reflect on it, and if it is not good, don't do it. Before you say it, reflect on it. If it is not good, don't say it. Before you think about it, if it is harmful to you, harmful to someone else, just let it go. Don't think about it. Right? Let it go. Now, you are doing it. While you are doing it, you keep reflecting on it, and Buddha would say, young Rahula, he was saying, Rahula, not only before you do it, while you are doing it, you reflect on it and see, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing things that are beneficial to all of us or harmful to both of us while you are doing it? And then, in the end, after you did it, you go and you start thinking, did I do the right thing? Was it, what is the benefit? Well, how beneficial it was to my friends, how beneficial it was to me. And you reflect on it after you finish the job, physical action or the verbal action that you said, I said this, but I'm not sure if I did the, I should wait and see what you said or what you thought was a good thing after. Now, at that time, I was not sharp enough, and I made judgment that is not very good. Then I did it thinking that this is okay to do. Now I see a lot of bad things happening, and my mother is upset and angry, and my family members are not happy. Then you said something wrong. At that time, I thought I was okay. I said it. This is the right thing to say. Because most of the time when we are going to say something important to your children or your husband or your wife, you think about it. And you say it. Sometimes you say it in the wrong time. Right thing in the wrong time. Mistake. Buddha said, if you say the right thing in the wrong time, that is a mistake. So your reflecting on it is not good. If you reflect on the action, what you are going to do, what you are going to say correctly, you won't do it at that time, that particular time, wrong time. So this is something, all of us. That is why a good driver had to back up his car in a busy area. Maybe there's a drain here and there's a pot, and maybe there's another vehicle right next to it. And this smart driver, before he sit in the driver's seat, he go and see how much space you have from your car to the little alley. If you back up too much, you go to the alley. If you back up too much to this side, you will hit the other car. And you go observe it and then go sit there, and he carefully move the car back. That's a smart driver, right? Foolish driver would sit there and don't have any idea what is around the vehicle, and especially you are backing up You don't see like you're seeing the front. And he could drive too much and go into the pit and cannot get out after, because you got your tire, in a big hole, something like that. That's the difference between smart driver and an unsmart driver. So reflecting where you are going to drive back up, what are the things around there, it's always a smart driver do that. And even the left turn or right turn is very close. The car is parked here. Now you move the car. Before you move the car, because you're going to the junction in a matter of seconds, if you move forward, and there's a left turn and the right turn, and you don't know which way you should be going, but you are now in the intersection, right in the middle, but you are not sure where to go because you didn't reflect on it before you start moving your car from the curb, the parking area. So then a smart driver would think that, okay, my turn is right next to me, very few feet away from me. So I should decide, once you go to the intersection, I should know I should turn left or right. Otherwise, all the vehicles are that coming from back behind me or other people, I'll be disturbing, and they may even get upset and keep honking me and things like that. I don't want that to happen. So you reflect on, before the wise person, before you move the car out of the parking space, which is right close to the intersection, you decide if you are going to turn left or right. So that is how smart people do. Buddha is saying here exactly the same thing, Rahula. Before you do something, before you say something, before you think something, reflect on it and continue if it is good and beneficial to all. And while you are doing something, reflect on it and be careful if you are doing the right thing or if you are saying the right thing. And the third thing, after you did it, you look back and assess the effects of what you said, what you did, what you thought. Were they good? And now you find out, my goodness, I did the wrong thing. Now what? If you do one thing one time, you get good at it next time. That is the kusala and akusala. Kusala means skill. Akusala means bad skill. If the driver constantly learn not to signal when they turn left and right, that becomes his habit. And if you keep doing it, then it is going to be part of your skill, driving skill. Very bad skill, because you are turning left and you don't signal. You are turning right, you don't turn on signal. Bad driving. So, akusala, unskillful behavior, skillful behavior. Buddha always teaches us to be skillful. Sabba papasa karanang kusalasa upasampada. Kusalasa upasampada, increase your skills. What skills? Behavioral skills, physical behavioral skills, verbal skills. Use your language. And thinking skills. If you are bad at these three areas, you are person with lot of akusala. That's what you don't want to be. Buddha is saying, to anybody. It doesn't matter you are Buddhist or Christian or Hindu or Muslim. Be a skillful person. Follow me or not important. Be a skillful person, just very important. Right? That's what Buddha would say. Now, this is Ambalattika Trahulovada Sutta, one of the very beautiful and meaningful and useful advice for all beings, mainly because we are living around so many people and trees and other environmental things. So it is so easy for us to run over something through our speech, through our thinking, through our action. So therefore, Buddha would say. Then one more thing to tell you is that now you made a mistake already. And after reflecting later on, you find out. Then what do you do? Do you keep it in your mind? No, you don't keep it in your mind. You talk to your best friends and laugh at yourself and tell them, I was so foolish and I did this, and I will never do it again. Remind yourself, I will never do it again. If you don't do that, because you have already done once you do one thing, you become good at it. That's the danger. So you have to change anything that you did wrong, you have to refine it immediately. But in our case, most of the time in our case, we just forget to fix it and remind ourselves that need to be taken care of. So that in Christian tradition, the confession, you go to the priest and tell, Father, I did this, and I'm sorry. Then you say, Son, don't do it again. And okay, Father, I'll try not to do it again. And that's a good thing. That's a confession. All Buddhist monks, the Christian confession came from the Buddhist. Even before the Christianity was started, Buddhist monks were advised to practice confession once a month or twice a month. Every Poya karna, it's a Poya karna. Uposatha. Uposatha means Poya karna. It's a common practice of all senior monks. You get together as a community, as a group. All local monks get together to one temple, one center, and they have an official meeting. And in that official meeting, they express things that they have done wrong. As a Buddhist monk, I was not supposed to say this, but I said this. I was not supposed to do this, but due to my stupidity, I did this. And then the other senior monks would say, okay, that's fine, now you did it already, we can't do anything now, but you can try your best not to do it again. And that's the advice given by the other monk in front of you. So every time two monks get together and confess to each other. So this is not a Christian thing. It's a Buddhist thing that started a long time ago. And good thing is that Christians applied it not only to the priest or monks, but for everyone. So that's very nice. So their wise things are wise no matter where it's coming from. The certain things that only a Buddha can find out, because the wisest person in the universe is subject to the wisdom certain things are only grasped by finest brain. That's the Buddha's brain. But below that, there are so many other smart people, little smart people. They also can see the little things because they are smart. And what I'm telling you is that we can be smart and we don't have to be the Buddha. You got the advice and you take it seriously, and we try to apply it every time, but sometimes we miss it, and then you try to do it again and keep doing it, and we become good at it. And chechayitva kammam karoti. Reflect after good reflection, you do the action. Okay, so this is a basic story of the Ambalattika Rahulova, the Sutta. Please read it for yourself. It's in very nice English, translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi. It's available, but you can Google anytime. Ambalattika Ambalattika. Then Rahulova the Sutta. You know how to spell Rahulova the Sutta, and then you press the search button. Then immediately several good translation come, and if you don't like one translation, you can like the other one and read the other one. So some of them are not easy because depending on the translator, some of them are archaic English because when the translation was done, when Buddhist books were taken into Sri Lanka in the beginning of the century or end of last century, they translated into English, but they tried their best to translate the sutras as faithfully as possible. But for now, when we are reading it 100 years later, they may not make too much sense in English. Therefore, you find a newer translation. That's how it works. Huh? It's the same with Bible, same with any other religious text. If the translation is old, then it is difficult for us to understand after several hundred years later, people like us. So, Ambalattika Rahulova, the Sutta, I mentioned this name many times just for you to remember the sound. So this is in the Majjhima Nikaya. Please go through and read for yourself. And I was only explaining a very small section of the sutta. There are many other things that you can read and understand about our behavior on this sutta. Almost every sutta is so amazingly intelligent and wise and useful and beneficial. Some of them are little tough for people like us because our understanding is not advanced enough yet, and there are certain things that Buddha taught for the senior monks who have been practicing Dhamma for a long time, and then person like you and I start reading may not make too much sense, but after a while it start making very clear sense, even those tough sutras that we find in the text. And that is the end of the Dhamma talk. We took extra time because this was a complicated sutta plus important subject that we were talking about. And so therefore we miss a little bit of time on meditation. So we try to transfer merit to everyone first, because after the Dhamma, listening to Dhamma is a good thing to do. and sharing the Dhamma is also a great thing to do. And both of us have generated so much merit for ourselves, because when the mind is clearer, when the thinking is clearer, we generate a lot of merit. By listening to a Dhamma, you begin to see things that more than I told you. When I say something about the Buddha's teaching, I say only from my point of view, but you hear it in 1,000 times more than I would say. It depends on some people. Some people are like that. So you might have generated so much merit for yourself, and let us share this merit with all our deceased relatives and family members and friends. Like in my case, my teachers and my parents were so kind enough to put me in the right direction, and as a result, I am able to read the sutras in Pali language, and also have some type of limited skill of explaining it to someone. So I should be always grateful to my teachers and my parents who guided me in the right direction. And then also you were guided by the right direction. That is why you are sitting listening to the Dhamma talk. Otherwise, you will not be paying attention to a talk like this, because people think this is useless. Time that I am wasting my time listening to a Dhamma talk. No, you didn't think like that. So that means you have a lot of great parents and family members and friends who guided you in the right direction. And therefore, let us think of all our family members and relatives and friends in the past who helped us to be who we are now, and thinking by the power of the merit that we are sharing with them, may they be happy and joyful and peaceful wherever they may be born, and may they also be able to listen to more and more Dhamma, and as a result, may they be able to improve their kusala, and may they be able to minimize their akusala, and by doing so, may they all attain ultimate peace, which is Nibbana. Sincerely, think of your parents and family members and good people who help you to be here, and we think like that, and we recite the Gatha. Idam me jnātinang hotu sukhita hontu jnātayo. Idam me jnātinang hotu sukhita hontu jnātayo. Idam me jnātinang hotu sukhita hontu jnātayo. Let us share the merit with all the devas, because we invited the devas to be here and participate in the Dhamma talk. And let us recite Akasatta cha. Akasatta cha bhummatta devānaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu loka sasanam. Akasatta cha bhummatta devānaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu desanam. Akasatta ca bhummatta devānaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu no sada. Listening to Dhamma and being able to practice the Dhamma, it's a very important part for all of us, because we are human beings who are experiencing a lot of frustration and fear and suffering and making many mistakes in our lives that generate pain for ourselves. And when we have good people who knows the Dhamma, are the number one Kalyana Mitras, who knows Dhamma and who explain the Dhamma to us, are good Kalyana Mitras and guide us and protect us from doing the wrong thing and thinking the wrong thing and saying the wrong thing. That is a wonderful thing to happen. So let us make sure that we have so many wonderful, wise people in our life, wherever we go in this life or in the future life. With these thoughts in our mind, Let us recite the Gatha. Imina punya kammena. Imina punya kammena mame bal samagamu satang samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mame bal samagamu satang samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mame bal samagamu satang samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us sit in silence, and some of you can try to reflect on what we heard today. Reflect on the teachings of the Buddha found in Ambalattika Rahulavada Sutta. The Buddha's question at the beginning was, what is the mirror is for? Mirror is to decide the false, the unpleasant things in areas that you cannot see, like in your face or your body or your hair. So use that same reflection on what you are going to do before you do it. Use the same reflection on what you are going to say before you say it. And then reflect on what you are going to think before you start thinking on that particular subject. Then while you are doing it, reflect on what you are doing. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the things that are beneficial? Am I doing the things that are harmful to myself and my family and my friends? And what I'm saying is harmful to both. And then we reflect on things after you did it, after you said it, after you thought about it. Now, if we think that you did a good job, kusala kamma, skillful job, skillful thing to do, skillful thing to say, skillful thing to think about. If you find out you made the mistake, talk to your friends, talk to your teachers, and erase it and let it go out of your system. Otherwise, what you did become part of your habit, which is not very good for you, which is not very good for your family members and friends. So erase it from your mind and erase it from your habits and actions. We know as Buddhists we are supposed to cultivate and practice skills, kusala, good skills. And we are supposed to, as Buddhists, to avoid participating in akusala because you develop bad habits. You don't want bad habits because it brings pain and frustration to yourself and your friends and family. Our life is so short. There may be not too much time to correct if you did not correct it immediately, at least in your mind. We should be always be grateful for being born as Buddhist or being exposed to the Buddha's teachings. That's a very rare thing to happen, and it has happened to us. Every lamp you light in your house, little lamps or little lights, bring you vision, ability to see things. But it is nothing compared to the light of the sun that rises in the morning, stays with us throughout the whole day. Buddha is like the sun, infinite light, infinite ability to see from our part. Incomparable light. We should use that light, which is the Dhamma. We should share that light with others so they will not be in dark. By learning and practicing the Dhamma, may I be a more peaceful and happy person. By learning and practicing the Dhamma, may my parents and other family members also be peaceful and joyful and wise. By learning and practicing the Dhamma, taught by the Buddha, may all men and women on this planet be peaceful and joyful and experience serenity, extreme serenity, peace of mind, as opposed to excitement. Because of our happiness and peace and living correctly according to the Dhamma, may we be able to bring peace and happiness to all beings around us. Visible or invisible, those who live nearby or those who live far away. Because we are living correctly, may we be able to contribute to the peace of mind of all beings, happiness of all beings. Our verbal, physical, or mental behavior be so refined, may our behavior not harmful to any being, any insect, or any invisible spirit. May we all be happy and peaceful, and may we all be able to overcome this dangerous state of existence that we are in, which we call samsara, and may we all be able to attain nibbana before too long. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you very much. And that's the end of the Dhamma talk and meditation session, which was very short, but I thought it is meaningful. And we have the offerings to the Buddha ready now. I think several people have brought dana because this is the full moon day, and later we transfer merit to their family members and them and all of you. And now you can slowly prepare yourself. If you have any Buddha Pujava, this is the time to offer. And if you don't have any food prepared, even if you wash the glass that you use to offer water to the Buddha, that would be perfect. You wash your glass and fill that glass with pure, clean water and offer it to the Buddha while we are offering Buddha Puja hour here at the temple. So you can relax now. We will start the Buddha Puja in few minutes. Huh? Brahma